What's up, y'all? It's your boy C coming back at you with another episode of C's Retro and Garage. As usual, coming to you from outer space in the free state of Florida. Gonna do a Buick Encore, Chevy Trax, Buick Verano, Chevy Sonic, Chevy Cruze. So in other words, the General Motors Chevrolet 1.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine. This is Drain and Fill Oil 101. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, unlike a transmission where you want to put in what you take out, the engine oil is a little bit different because most engines that I've ever seen burn a certain amount of oil. That oil does kind of get splished and splashed and recirculated through the PCV system, and that oil, once it's gone, it's no more. Therefore, their rule is not to put in what you take out, but it is to put in a certain amount. And so you can see that I'm being honest about it. Here is the 2016 Buick Encore, which is what we're doing. Service manual and the intervals and the technical data when you're looking here. Engine oil with filter. There's what you're actually putting in is 4.2 quarts. So that's what actually goes in when you're doing a complete oil change. Okay, that's enough of that. Usually with the service manuals themselves, they don't give you the drain and fill type of information. You can generally find that yourself online, but at the very least, you'll know what is factual if you're working backwards. So knowing that it's 4.2 liters for a full oil change, then you're going to know that it's going to be slightly less than that when you're doing a drain and fill. So just for fun, we'll look here at the oil, and there's really not a whole lot of information. I guess they figure a lot of people nowadays don't even bother to do it themselves. So we're looking here, page 196 to 97. It doesn't really give you, just doing a cursory look over it, yeah, it doesn't really give you a whole lot. So I'm gonna look it up just to be on the safe side. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it was just 4 straight quarts of oil, or a little bit under that. But let's look it up. So from experience, I always know that the engine oil, when you're not changing the filter, and it is not necessary for you to change the filter every time. These filters were generally designed to be switched out every other time. But you do so either at your own risk. Again, I am not a Ask Somebody Else certified mechanic, so I cannot give you the final, say on what to do. I personally change my filters every other time. When the car gets down to about 20% as far as oil life, that's when I change mine. But we're gonna do this. This is just a simple drain and fill. And remember, when it comes to engine oil, you don't put in what you take out, you simply put in a certain amount. According to the service manual, it's always 4.2 liters with the filter. In this case, it's without the filter. So my best math, simple math, is going to be just round that up to 4 quarts, period. Now, I have the pump. Okay, it's going to be real easy. It has 2 attachments for the hose. This one here and this skinny one here. This is for a drain stick. excuse me, dipstick. Yeah, what am I thinking? Well, thinking what I'm gonna do to this motherfucker. So, first things first, locate your dipstick, pull it out, take a look. You can see the oil's pretty dark, time for change. And you feed this guy in. And you keep going until you kind of feel that thunk. And also be mindful, this is plastic. Once you feel that, hey, this is not going anymore, you are literally there. So now we're at the point where this is no longer going anywhere. So we come here, got our machine, okay? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. That's what you're going to do. It's going to be the pump in motion. So we are going to, at this point, all right, and as you're pumping, as you can see the oil now, see how it's dark and it's starting to go in. That's all there usually is to it. You get a little bit of resistance. At this point, basically sit back, relax, let it do its job. Now, the pneumatic ones, of course, you go ahead and you connect your air hose, and it'll do all the work for you. Those can be done manually as well. This one, of course, I'm doing manually. As you can see, I cannot pump anymore. At this point, it's just a matter of letting it do its thing. There's enough air pressure already in here that it's gonna suck all this oil out. So at this point, you just sit back, relax, you grab your stick, go ahead and light up, and wait for this thing to be done. Alright, so I guess the next question is going to be, when do you know when it's done? Well, when it's done, you're not going to see any more fluid. You will notice that the tube is a little bit lighter, okay? And you're starting to see that it's not as thick up on the top of the big hose anymore. But if you go ahead and follow it down, you can see it's still pretty full. See how much you've taken out. I honestly cannot remember how much this holds. I believe this is 2.5 gallons is what it holds. I know it's kind of hard to see. You'd have to time lapse it, literally. But it's actually still going. It's still draining. So you can see there's still pressure. It's been about 10 minutes. So the hardest part of this job is literally the weight. Now I stand corrected. It actually holds 5.3 liters, which is more than enough. So now I'm not that scared, because I was gonna say, man, that's a shit ton of fluid. Okay. If you notice, I tied a string around it. That's kind of to help it, you know, speed it up. But as you can see now, look how clear that hose is. That's pretty much all the fluid. It's literally all out of there. You know, since it didn't reach all the way up here, I guess you could and let gravity do its thing. If you want to elevate, I put it down so that it could go ahead and drain completely. This hose was actually much longer than I thought, but now it's pretty clear. It's pretty clean at this point. It's just a matter, again, I just tied a little rope to it. Now it's literally as simple as just putting your fluid back in. Okay, so if you remember from the drain and fill and transmission, if you want to know exactly how much shit you put in there, or pretty close to it, use an old jug to measure it. This one's empty, but what I usually do is I will fill, if I have when I do have, you know, an empty quart, use the quart, fill the quart to 1 quart first, so then, you know, you kind of have an idea of what a quart looks like, and then you can fill the rest up to here. You know, the 4 quarts is right about there, roughly. On the trannies, they're a little bit, you know, not as accurate as if you ask me. Oil quarts are much better. You can see they give you a better measurement. So right here, this one is a 5W30. There's a little bit of oil left in there. Very little. That's okay. You can always dump whatever's in here out in a quart, and then, you know, fill up here. It'll give you an idea of what you took out. This might be one of those cases where 4.2, even without having changed that oil filter, is going to be the right call, simply because that's a large amount. This is actually doing more than you should. So this is technically it would be a drain and fill 101B, if you ask me. It's just kind of going the extra mile. As you can see, the hose is clear now. That's pretty much over. Now it's just a matter of if you want to measure your fluids. Again, you know, start with an empty. Okay, dump the old stuff in here. See how much you have. If you don't have an empty, use a gallon of milk. Use you know, 2-liter bottles of soda. 3-liter bottles, if you can still find them, are great. Just remember, however much you put in, if you can fill the whole thing. I prefer the gallon, simply because when you look, it's a gallon and a quarter is the, you know, 5 quarts. It's 4 quarts, it's an actual gallon, even though a gallon holds a tiny bit more. But you take your little Sharpie and you mark it off at that spot, so you know that's how much you took out, and then you can pretty much do the rest of the math from there. So now it's just time to put the oil back in. Alright, in case you were wondering how to fully drain your hoses, just hang it, okay? If you're really anal about it, you're probably always going to have some residual. If you're really anal, again, get a bucket, soap, water, dishwashing soap, which strips shit, and you know, a few pumps, suck it all out. I'm going to go ahead and go the extra mile and measure that. Give it a few minutes more of draining, and then we'll go ahead and measure and see how much it really is. Alright, just to give you an idea, this is new, okay? This is 5 quarts. There's more in here, yes, I understand, but this is exactly 5 quarts. So we come to the used oil, okay? I don't know how well you can see that, but look where it's right about here. This is 4, it's about 4.5. There was actually more oil in the car than should have been, but this is the old. This is obviously going to the closest landfill by your favorite auto parts store, and now it's time to put in some fresh oil. But just to give you an idea, you can see just from here, looking at the meniscus on the side of the bottle, it is right about there. This here is 4 quarts, this is 4 liters. So if you want to look up the liters, you can take that up, look it up and use that measurement. That's usually for Canada. The rest of the world, we go by quarts. It does say 4.2 quarts. I will double check just to make sure that it is quarts and not liters, but you can tell there's quite a bit. Alright, I did went ahead and double check, and it's 4.2 quarts, 4 liters for our friends in Canada and in other places. So always remember, check your shit stick. That noise is normal, believe it or not. Okay? Looks good. We are like the NWO. Looking good. Clean this bad boy off. Ready for another 5,000 to 7,000 miles. Just remember, on the next one, you will have to change that oil filter. Okay? But for now, good to go. Wrap it up. Also, don't forget to reset your oil counter. I did that on another video, but if you must know how to do it, when you go into your menu and you check the oil life, you'll see it right there. It'll say reset oil counter. Click the set circle. Click the set circle. It'll say, you sure? Yes or no? Make sure you put it yes. Click it, and you should be back at 100% oil life. But that is it for this episode of C's Retro Garage. And again, this was Buick Encore, Buick Verano, Chevy Trax, Chevy Sonic, Chevy Cruze, all 1.4 liter Ecotec GM Chevrolet engines, all working the same exact way. So this is how you do drain and fill motor oil 101 B, because I went the extra mile and measured the oil. It was actually more than what the factory said. And this is another reason they advocate doing this yourself. Because I'm pretty sure this was at 4.2 when it left the factory, and well, you know, the previous owner who had it for about a year, well, you know, I'm pretty sure they didn't do it themselves. And yeah, big props to those quick lube places. Once again, this is your boy C with C's Retro and Garage, reminding you as always, stay safe, be ye kind one to another, and peace out, and I'll catch you on the next one.